Well, hello, hello, hello. Happy New Year. Nalani, it's good to see you in chat today. Hopefully everything is going well with you. Well, let's go ahead and get some Minecraft playing. Got a couple different ideas and plans of different things I want to do. Had to make sure to write stuff out on signs or else I was going to forget it. Of course, I need to make sure that I write these down elsewhere too. Got a Trello board with all of this stuff together. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. So, threw some stuff together because I just wanted to make sure I had some sort of direction today. Build homes for a village. That's here on top of the mountain with me, just outside the door over there, because ultimately that does need to get put together. Right side of the mountain, got a section that has yet to be fully finished out there. Got the mine entrance, so basically the entrance to level 3. Gather some supplies, got dirt, mud, dripstone blocks, deep slates, some other things. That's just all I can think about. At the back of the mountain, as we can all tell, it's not here. Level 3's layout. That's going to go out here somewhere, and I eventually got to start working on that. Texturing and shaping of the mountain, and that's basically just some of the texturing out here. Putting some snow on the top of the mountain, and then some nether tunnel areas because there's going to be some tunnels that get people to and from each of the levels. That way it's not like you have to figure out where to go. You can just get to the nether area and just follow paths accordingly. And then a wizard house with a path through the mountain to get up to it, as well as planning level 4 for the nature, or level 4, which is the nature level. So I think some of the stuff that I may work on, I may actually work a little bit on building some of the homes. That is a very tedious task for me. I am the worst. I'm the worst at actually building houses. Like when I have my own time, but I can almost guarantee on stream I'm going to be even worse. Thinking maybe doing something with the mine entrance, that would be good. But yeah, so I'm just going to kind of wander around a little bit. Kind of have some ideas what I want to do, but gotta get some of the stuff figured out. Down. Perfect. Okay. All right. Got a lot of dropping FPS here. So, since my last stream, I've actually finished the front facade of the mountain. It's actually fully done. Got everything all the way up to peak done, so relatively close to world height. Didn't want to go up too terribly high, just in case I wanted to add some extra stuff up there. I don't think there will be a whole lot, except for maybe 1 or 2 layers of snow at the top, but definitely wanted to leave some room. Got the top up there done. Got some work down the sides done. Added a little bit of moss over here. That's not new at all. Got the same stuff there. And then also got some work done along the right side of the mountain. So that's what I mean when I say the right side. Got a whole section all the way back to our starter village back that way. Which is pretty nice. See here. And then I'm thinking mine entrance is going to end up going over there. We'll probably wrap a pathway from that side over there. Yeah, so the mountain itself is officially done. Yes, to catch up. And it's big enough that you can't actually see all the way to the top, but it is there. It does exist up there. Okay, let me see here. Yeah, so here's some of the stuff that is on and whatnot, I realized while I was building this one wasn't really as jagged as this mountain is over here, so it's just really easy to just do so many linear lines, and definitely needs some texturing. This is really off, so I'll be working on that over time to just kind of like add some variation to that because it just looks so plain, in my opinion. Seeing this drop down to 6 frames per second every time it's set is a little tricky. I'm not enjoying that part. But yeah, so this mountain does wrap all the way back around to here. This is where our starter village is, and we settled when update. And I just kind of went all the way around. Basically, it's just kind of a range that was just encompassing the entire. Even walking through here. Surprised. Is seriously regardless of whether you're it's definitely a struggle. Now that we have Tater. Right. All right, perfect. And we're back. So, some of the stuff that I want to do, some things that I did actually. Some of the stuff that I got to work on. There's this little section down here where I intentionally left a little bit of a hole. And through here is going to be a couple different pathways. I've got the industrial. This right path is actually going to go all the way down, around and circle into it. That's going to be kind of like a cave piece of all of this. I kind of want to enclose it. Not 100% sure exactly what I want to do there, but I do want to get that enclosed. So I was able to kind of start working on getting this path done. And then one thing I wanted to make sure of was for people who like to travel by foot, somebody like Professor K or the wife, they like to go by foot. They don't use Elytra, so I wanted to make sure that I had something that was in place. I wanted to make sure that people could actually get to the mountain. So I have come through and kind of added in a little bit of a cave environment, kind of like this cave was going through a little bit of a geode, and then pop the geode, and then it just kind of is a little bit of a cave. I still have a lot more texturing to do. This is all fully stone plus a few extra there. So I want to come through some cobble, some granite, and maybe some additional blocks, and just kind of throw some. Get some extra and Psychopants, hello. Thank you so much for the follow. Thanks for joining. Appreciate the comment. It's a long-term project that I've been working on. Some very little on stream, but a lot of it off stream. And yeah, so basically, if you're by foot, you can pop right up here, get a great view of Professor K's tree and her creeper monument. Currently named the Weeper Creeper. I think this is absolutely amazing. I think she did a fantastic job with that. And then, yeah, so the path just goes through here. I've already added kind of like a basic little walkway up. So once again, don't have to worry about flying. You don't have to utilize any of the scaffolding. That's going to get you up here to the town. And then you can actually see all the way up in the mountain. And then my hope here is I'm going to have another cave somewhere along the backside, or just somewhere around here. I have yet to actually figure out exactly where I want that to be. And that is going to be get players here. And that's going to get you up to the top. And then if you saw the signs, it said the Wizard's House. This is basically going to be where it is. There is actually going to be a little bit of a home here, and it is going to be for a wizard, and that wizard is going to be a part of the lore to the game that we're playing. And so basically, this wizard is going to be like how the quest begins for the player and how it goes through, and we'll kind of explain why you're doing certain things. His home is going to be up here, and I just kind of created a little bit of a flat landing up and above the village. I've got a whole bunch of like little bits of lore that I did, kind of like just trying to do a little bit of a world build surrounding this. I've got the city down there. That's going to be where villagers are technically going to live. So I feel like you consider this an exclusive world. We've got villagers that live there. Off in the mines, that's going to be kind of like where the dwarves are. So a little bit of Lord of the Rings kind of style lore. So the dwarves live on the underground, villagers, and then we've got so they kind of settled on the mountain. The villagers are defenseless; they don't really have much that they can do, so they had to settle high up. Then we've got the dwarves who can make weapons and protect the town. They're the ones who've got the mines. And then the wizard is the overall protector, just tries to keep them safe from any kind of evil magic, if you will. And as the player goes through the game, they're actually going to find out that this wizard has been cursed and has been turned to stone, and the only way that they can communicate is via books. And so you, the player, are going to be opening books through the game and finding out, like, hey, this is where you are, this is what you're doing. And you're going to find out that somebody dug a little too deep, released a quote unquote beast, and that is going to be the ultimate mission of said game, is going to be going about trying to take down the beast to bring peace back to this little world. So kind of a cheesy way to do a game and kind of a cheesy thing, but honestly, I very much enjoyed putting it together. So even though it is something that even I consider cheesy, I actually kind of enjoyed it. So I'm happy with it and can't really wait to get all of the levels and then throw on the extra pieces of lore, some Easter eggs and whatnot, and really just make this a fun game for each player to enjoy and really just go to town with, because it's a lot of work. Goodness, a lot of work to put it together. But this is one of those things that just makes me smile, and so it's worth it to me. And if people enjoy it, people enjoy it. But if they don't, that's okay. I enjoyed it, and that's what's gonna matter. Okay. So I got a little bit of an extra area off the side here. This is basically just a little bit of, mountainscaping. I may put something over here. Actually, I haven't fully decided what I want in this area, but this is all parts of the mountain that go up to the top. And I'm not going to lie, I really had a lot of fun putting overhangs on these mountains. It was actually pretty fun. It was a little difficult, but I think I had the most fun putting this part of the mountain together. A little less so with the one over there, just because this mountain was so much work that I was kind of burnt out. But I think the other mountain will be just as fun as time goes on. But I also need to be able to make sure that I'm not like making it a super flat area that doesn't have a whole lot of character. Yeah. Let's see, just light around here. Can't tell you the number of times that I've just watched mobs come raining down. It's kind of hilarious. No way I'm going to get all of this lit up, but I'm going to work on that as best as I can. All right, so with that said, I know I have a lot of work that I did off camera. It was just a little bit difficult to actually do some streams, being out of town for 10 days, and then the family being sick, busy with work. It was really difficult to actually get to some stuff, so I figured might as well do a quick catch up on that. But it looks like we've got the sun going down eventually here, so let's go ahead and hop into my little safe room here. Figure out what I want to get to first. Okay, let's see here. Some of the things that I've been thinking is like I have motivation for some things, but not everything. And it's kind of hard to like figure out exactly what it is that I want to do. So let's see here. I think planning the mine entrance would be good, and maybe getting some homes for the village. I really struggle with villages. I attempted to make a village back in our original. It was interesting. Got some frame drops just standing here. So it was actually like the absolute worst, just trying to get that village put together. Like I was really gung ho about it. I had a huge area planned out. And then I started putting in some buildings and I just couldn't make it cohesive. Like one of the things the wife was telling me, she's like, this isn't cohesive. It just doesn't mesh well. Like I put buildings that were like made out of acacia wood in the same area as like stone brick and spruce. And it just did not work out. And then I tried to do like this giant cathedral thing. And I noticed that every time I went and tried to do giant things, I would just run out of motivation and I just couldn't do it. I just wasn't sure like what am I going to do? Like can I do the detail? And I think the problem was that there was so much detail I wanted to do that I just refused to actually get to it. And I just lost motivation. And I was hoping having multiple projects was actually going to be like what would help me through that. But it ultimately flopped, and as badly as I wanted that village to work out, it didn't. I left it and abandoned it for my Legend of Zelda Wind Waker Tower of the Gods build, which that one ended up not even fully getting finished either. But that one ended up not being finished because we ended up moving out to this area beforehand, though it was fairly close. But I think with this should be a little bit easier because this is basically the entirety of the village that we can see. It's not going to be huge. None of these buildings are supposed to be overly ornate. And like this one right in front of me, and I think one more over here is going to be the biggest. And it's just because I want to have a storehouse. I need to be able to have chests. I had a huge room in the back of the player hall in level 1 and level 2 for this game that I've been working on, and that was arguably one of the most important things. Having somewhere to put all your stuff and having some form of organization. Without it, it was terrible. Just it was misery. So once I was able to do that, it was really awesome. That's kind of my goal here. I think I may start with some of that, but I also am utilizing a little bit of Pinterest for this. Make sure that I have. I have a bunch of ideas on Pinterest, but it's a matter of can I actually get it and make it work. All right. For the follow. Sorry, it's about 7 minutes late, and then oh no. That's Microcosmos 89. Thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate you guys. Absolutely love having you guys here. Yeah, so just doing some planning. But I think what I'm going to do real fast is I think I'm going to look for a good spot to do a mine entrance. And then I'm going to go ahead and eventually start putting in some spots over here for some buildings. Yeah, I'm thinking this one is likely going to be one storehouse. That one might be another one. And then the rest of these are just going to be homes. They're not going to be overly ornate. They're not going to be big. They're not going to be variant by a whole lot. They're going to be relatively similar to one another. Because one of the actual designs for these homes came from my wife, and she wants to do a Swiss Alps style build. So that's actually partly where this mountain came to be inspired from. That peak right there, the way that it kind of comes up into this triangular angle here, like this obtuse angle, is kind of from the Swiss Alps. And I liked how it kind of pokes out, and it's going to be kind of flatter behind it. So like the way that some of that was done is like inspired by Swiss Alps, and I'm hoping that the homes can be similar to what you would find there. I'm gonna butcher it like horrifically, but I mean I wouldn't expect anything different from myself. So I think it's gonna be kind of interesting, but like it's just all going to be on the same palette, and that's one of the things I have to be okay with, is some things being quote unquote boring because they don't vary a whole lot in how they look, and I need to be okay with that. And sometimes I either go full bore and everything being the same, or full bore and everything has to be different. So I need to personally be very careful with that. Add just extra small details, but it doesn't have to be anything major. Alright, let's go ahead and grab some stone here, because I think, honestly, this is going to be a good spot. I kind of like the fact that there's like this natural arch that I could punch out, and then I'm thinking the mine entrance, it's going to be right over there. One of the things that I have been trying to keep in mind when trying to do said is there is some ground. There's like giant caves and caverns underneath this area. It's closer to Professor K's tree. There's actually a huge hole out front of her tree that was naturally generated that goes into there. And I kind of want to utilize part of that, but at the same time I don't. But another thing that I want to do is I don't want to dig anything out, and I also don't want to have to like wander too far away to figure it out. So I'm thinking, honestly, level 3 is going to end up being over here. I'm probably just going to go ahead and do somewhat of an entrance in this area, and then you, the player, will walk in. There will be a little bit of like a mine entrance, and then there's going to be a section for the level, and that level is going to be what like hosts the rest of the mines. And some of it is like in an attempt to keep said beast, like I was talking about earlier, at bay, because another one's going to swoop in. It's going to be very interesting. I don't want to spoil too much, but the player is going to learn quite a bit about what happened and why this game exists. It's not just some randomly existing thing just to play. Like there's actually full-on story that goes into it. So this might actually work. I don't know if I'm going to want to tear down parts of this mountain. Yeah, let's grab a shovel. Okay. Let's head back over there and kind of get poking around. Alright. I am going to pause real fast. Got a little piece of work to tend to real fast. Be right back. All right, and I'm back. And I do apologize that there was no music during that time. One of the things that I'm really trying to make sure of is that there's music, but it, like, I know music is playing, but half the time it just doesn't want to come through. So I do have a music maker thing that I'm going to likely start doing some custom tracks and stuff like that. So I want to get that going here soon. Um, but that's just going to take a little bit of time because I am not musically literate, but it is worth it to me to give that a try. Okay, so let's go ahead and add a little bit of a pathway going over here. I'm gonna have to start from there and come up this way. Can't forget that I grabbed the shovel to dig out parts of that mountain, and it's getting dark. Getting dark, but can't sleep. Shoot. That's always difficult. Okay. So gonna do a little bit of walkway. Got to bring it from down lower, carve out a little bit of snow, and then about designing some form of entrance. I'm not going to actually like really do much in terms of decorating the entrance, mainly because I don't want to try to bite off more than I can chew in that regard, because designing that is going to I want to be relatively standard for the game, but I also want to keep it consistent with what we would expect to see in this area, but probably a little bit on a darker palette, given the fact that this is supposed to be like a dwarven keep and like area made by, you know, these dwarves that lived here. So just want to make sure I keep that all in one shot. It's gonna take me a little bit of time, because as much as I like to make things that look cool, doesn't exactly mean I always know how to do that. One thing I have to be careful of too is if I'm going to be bringing players around here, I can't be having there can't be any powdered snow over here. Let's see. Probably should have brought my axe. Well, the axe would now be we're not even coming from that direction, we're gonna come from there. Anyway. Really hoping I could get that bunny. Alright. Needs to be a little bit bigger of an entrance. So I may have to bring this mountain down and then up and over just a little bit. But I think this is a good start. Okay, let's get this pathway taken up to there. So we are starting at trying to 2. 43. Okay, 19 blocks. So 19 isn't bad. That's actually quite the distance over there for this. So it could be a very steady gradual path. This up on the top. I also don't want this to just be a shelf. I think we're gonna have to deal with it being like a shelf. Anyway. But in watching this guy play Vault apparently like looking down like this, being able to place a block directly beneath this one without a block already being there is a Bedrock feature. And I heard him say that, and I couldn't help but question him. Like, excuse me, since when is that the case? I've never been able to place a block directly beneath this one without already having a block down there. I don't know what he's talking about. I'd be very interested to see what he actually meant. Now that I have thoroughly already fallen off of here, and I've already made this flat while trying to go there, let's go ahead and start throwing in some blocks right here. And I need to make sure that this is long enough too, between each step, because I want to throw slabs here. I don't want the player to have to jump a whole lot. I want this, like, it's kind of weird as it may sound, I would just want it to be as accessible as possible, which, God, is almost like a weird thing to say. It's like, for me, I'm such a heavy Elytra user that, like, this whole mountain's accessible. I just fly. But, like, not everybody uses an Elytra. My wife doesn't use an Elytra. She's much more, like, this is gonna almost sound bad, she's much more pedestrian. She would prefer to walk. Like, I have to agree with some people who say that they feel like Elytras may have kind of like cheapened the adventure of this game a little bit, because it is just so much easier to fly everywhere. So the sense of adventure kind of dwindles when you can just fly wherever you want rather than walk around. So I kind of want to use my Elytra less, but at the same time, when I'm building something like this, that's, you know, a couple hundred blocks wide, and then there's like a 700-800 block distance between me and my current storage room, I'm all about flying. I am not about, I'm not about hoofing it. I've done that a couple times. That was miserable. It just was not my cup of tea. Okay, so let's get this one. I love those lighting updates. Let's see. There we go. Okay. One of the things that I did too when I was like building that initial ramp area over there from the tunnel into the mountain was making sure that there was at least 2 blocks before the next up block, so that you could land, slab, and then you're up on top of the next one. This one I'm hoping to do something around like 3, just because I have a bit more space on this one. Let's see how this is ultimately going to shape up. It's getting a little wide over here. 2, 5. Okay, no more than 4. Now this one's going to be 5, but there's a little bit of an overhang. Bring this over here. This one's going to be a little bit wider thanks to how far over that one is. Oops. It's actually quite the shelf. Let's go up. Okay. How are we doing? That is not a whole lot of space. And if I wind up finding out that I am going to be nice and short, like this isn't going to come up high enough, I can always fight to get it there rather than say here, which is where my brain is initially going. But then also what I can do is I can come through here and then just speed up how fast these layers go up. which ultimately isn't going to hurt anything because speeding that up like will give this somewhat of a base so it doesn't just look like this flat platform. So I'm gonna have to go back in and fix that eventually. Okay, let's make sure I don't have any sneaky surprises. I'm sure I will. It's already getting dark. Yeah, I'm going to go sleep. I'd rather not get attacked right about now. I've actually had a couple creepers go off, and I'm like, okay, you blew a hole in my mountain. Alright, FPS caught up. Yeah, it's like one layer thick in certain areas. I want a different entrance for here. Having to break this glass every time is somewhat of a pain. Oh, and if anybody's curious, I find this one to be funny. Nope, not that one. It's this one. All right. All of these shulker boxes plus to about here, here, plus 14, full of stone is what's gone into creating this mountain. I thought I had plenty of stone. I most certainly did not. All right. One quick second here. Okay. So let's go ahead. Keep this going. Yeah, that's definitely looking like it's coming in super low. But that's okay. Just get it up first, and then go back in and fix it afterwards. So some of the things that I've been doing in building is like part of it I've had like this no mistakes mentality where it's like, especially like, and mainly while building this mountain, this whole no mistakes mentality, which is basically where I just sit there and I look at what I'm doing. And if I feel like I misplaced a block or I think that's going to look weird or something like that, I actually end up leaving it. I'm like, you know what? Leave it for now. Like these right here. So I've placed a couple extra blocks just randomly. I'm going to leave those. As much as I would like to take them, now this I'm going to take. As much as I'd like to take them, I don't want to do that because sometimes your first thought or something of that sort is going to be better than second guessing yourself. And so parts of this mountain were created based upon this no mistakes mentality where it just didn't matter. I'm like, you know what? Like maybe I'll go back to it later, but while I'm building it, just there's no mistakes. Obviously, there are going to be mistakes, and I've had to fix stuff, and that's okay. It was okay for me to have to go fix things because that was ultimately what it was going to end up being. Was like they're going to be mistakes, but don't overthink what you're doing in the moment because that's one of my issues. I'll overthink in the moment, and then I will just end up being paralyzed, and I would never have finished this. I want everything to be perfect on the first draft rather than having rough drafts and just fixing it. So I just was like, you know what? No mistakes. And I tell you what, this mountain, when I finally got to that stage, went up incredibly quickly. I I couldn't believe how fast I was able to get this mountain put together. It just is such a huge project and it was so daunting. But that desire to make it perfect was the thing that was the hardest for me to get over in those moments. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and do 2 on this one. So that was kind of nice. I mean, obviously, I really screwed up on some of the spots, but I'm okay with it. Like looking over at the other mountain, it's super flat, super bland. And I'm like, you know what? That's just gonna be what it is. That's okay. It's gonna be flat and bland. I'm gonna go fix that later. It is not my problem today. That'll be tomorrow's problem, but that'll be tomorrow's problem when I'm not trying to build a mountain at the same exact time. Okay. So it's getting a little bit tighter in terms of total space to go up here. Yeah, it definitely came up a little bit short. That is okay. Let's do some of this. Okay. Also, this can come down a little bit. Oh, I fall. Yeah, this has definitely been one of the more hilarious issues. It's falling through my mountain because it is one block. It's one block thick. But that's okay. That's a part of the charm of my mountain here. Okay. Alright. One quick second here. Hide myself in the quick corner. Thought that I heard something, and so I wanted to go check that out, but I was honestly don't actually know what it was. Okay, so we can still keep this shelf over here. I think that's still a perfectly valid thing, and we can utilize it for traversing across this mountain, because this is ultimately going to need to connect with that a little bit. I know it kind of does down there, but we're going to have that, and we'll keep it. And then now what we need to do is kind of pop some of this together. Okay. Just going to give us a little bit of extra room there. So we can allow for 2 blocks here. And that's a single drop. Okay, got another 2 blocks there. It's a little bit steeper right at the end, steeper than I want it to be. That's okay. Okay. So getting a little bit closer to what I want. Okay. Oops. Need that much. Did it again. Alrighty, so that technically has now brought this whole thing to be one singular linear path, which I think is perfect. Some of this just isn't going to look the best, but that is okay for now. Oh, that works. Okay. Yeah, the one thing I didn't do is grab slabs. Cool. Grab some. Oh, I thought I had some in there. Looks like. Yeah, and as I'm sure you can tell just by looking at this, there's quite the mess. Got all the stone stuff over there and some other stuff, but then there's some other random chests and moss and stuff. I have to go through and like get all this stuff organized. I want to put together another system very much like what I have with the other one, which thankfully it's not automatic, because if it was automatic, it'd just kill me. I have to do those, but I am kind of done doing automatic storage systems because they're just so much extra work, and I do not have time for that. I just do not want to do that. Alright, so let's go ahead and throw some slabs. Some of it's going to look a little funky with there being a block and a half space there, but that's all right. Probably doing this in more of a weird way by doing this going down rather than going up, but I'm okay with this. I'm also going to have to come through here and do a little bit of extra texturizing because throwing nothing but stone through here is not the prettiest look ever. Okay, so this is officially walkable. Doesn't look the worst going up there. What I'll do eventually is I'm gonna come out under this and just kind of like give it a little bit of a shelf. I don't want this to just be super flat, but there's now a full-on walkway, and I did not need as many stacks of slabs as I brought. Now, I'm really trying to think, do I want to take this and arch this over, or do I want to keep this little arch? I'm thinking an arch over into the snow, just because it gives me much more vertical height to play with. I'd rather have more height than having it be over here. because it gives me much more to play with. So let's do that. I'm just gonna figure out also how much I want to go over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 blocks wide. And there's actually parts of the mountain. Let's probably just call it 5. Not actually what I meant. 2 and 1 more block in for the center. So they went up 2 more. Not that good. Let's see. Is that on the same level? Yes. And 2. Okay, there we go. It's just going to be the starter because that is super 2012-esque. I think honestly it's probably going to be a little bit more square. This is going to get me started here. And then what we can do is bring the player. So the player's going to come in, come over. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, kind of have to come in when I walk this way. Bring the player over here. Bring the player over here, and then they can begin their descent. So here, do I want to make this 2 blocks of a step out before 1 down? Alright, chat, can I get a very much like Escal here. I obviously have significantly more area here to play with, but what I'm thinking maybe to start is that I'm going to want this beginning entranceway. Probably going to have to come up with a better name than that. So this beginning entranceway should probably be 2 blocks out, 1 block down. And then you'll enter into kind of like the main area for the mine entrance. And then once you have entered into the game itself, it will go down at a much steeper rate, where it'll just be 1 and 1, 1 and 1, 1 and 1. Let's go ahead and add a second level, just kind of keep this consistent with what we did outside. Let's see, here's a 2. gotta sleep. Okay. And honestly, one of the best parts about building this game that I have very much enjoyed is what I say goes when it comes down to some of this terrain. So, though this terrain goes down here, I tell it what to actually do because this is all custom building. So basically what I can come through here and do is, even though this is a very grassy area, currently it does not mean I am forced to keep it as a grassy area. I can make it a stone area, or whatever's actually going to suit the needs of this game. So, I think this is a good start. This area is going to have to be a little bit bigger in terms of this mine entrance. It's based upon what has been in the other levels that I've done. There needs to be space for redstone. So I have to be able to open and close the door to the game. There needs to be a player section for them to sleep and put any items down. They need to be able to get their key in and out. And there's always a book. And that book has to explain some things. But I also like to have some decoration in there. So I need to make sure that it's a big enough area. But since it's going to be the first real level of the game, that's not some form of tutorial, I'd like to actually make it bigger and just a smidge more grand. So we'll just grab a little bit of a rough shape here. Probably run this out a couple more blocks. Let's see. And while this room at the moment does have a very square shape, it is not going to stay that way. I don't want it to remain a square. I might be a square, but the room doesn't have to be. I'll put all my really horrible dad jokes away now. But I want it to be more than just a square. Because it doesn't feel quite right. Now, some of this entrance area here, I'm going to be utilizing a little bit of Good Time with Scar in Season 7 of Hermitcraft. He did a mining area that Green ended up sharing, and I loved how he did some of this entrance, and I loved what he did to the actual area. He had like mine carts running around. This isn't Java, and I'm not running like a supercomputer, and a lot of other people are playing on consoles when trying to play on this realm. So if I make it a very heavy redstone area, which there's already going to have to be redstone anyway because of like the door and everything else that needs to get put in. It's gonna lag out their consoles, and the last thing I want to do is make my game unfriendly to people playing on the consoles. So the only reason I'm not actually on a console right now is just because I'm working and I'm on my PC, and I've somehow actually been enjoying being on my PC more than being on the consoles. So, but oftentimes I can't play on my consoles anymore because then when I'm able to do that, my son is all about getting my attention. So let's see here. I think that's going to be a little bit decent. I'd say this is probably a sufficient area to enclose this in. So let's go ahead and do this. But yeah, I don't want to throw in too many different things like that. I don't want to make this unplayable or just super laggy and frustrate somebody who's going to be on a console trying to enjoy the game that I put together for them. And if I make it just inaccessible in that way, they're not going to enjoy it. So I have to keep that in mind as well. So I think this is good. But yeah, so Scars season 7 mines area. I think, and honestly, some of it was like super simple. Like it just wasn't over the top. But he's always like the master of those details. But then he eventually did just go straight down. He just went straight down into the mines, and from there it was just pretty linear kind of stuff. And I think ultimately that's what I'm going to go for here. Okay. All right, I've got the entrance to level 3. Ready to go now. Where do I actually want this entrance to be? Like, where do I want this door? I can do it here. It's got the best shot to go further down. Over here, a little less so. We can always go this direction. I don't think there's any access to lines. This is one of the hardest parts. Is like I want there to be access to, and it's actually like a real mines area that's down beneath all of this. Is there a yet for me? The end of that, and I just have to do this. Okay. Alrighty, so that one's a no-go. We know that there is nothing there to get us to the rest of the mines. Okay. Next smidge more promising because it's actually going the right direction. That. Okay, so promising still. Oh, ha ha ha. Mean. Oh, that totally had me going. Well, that's unfortunate. Okay, I know it still goes this way, but this is now going away from the rest of the mines. Not gonna lie, back when I first played, I used to think that this meant that there was something here. Like, oh my gosh, what am I about to stumble upon? And it was never anything. I don't actually know what it might be for, if there's anything that it is like a indicator point, but I've never seen anything. Oh, hello. Hi guys. That one's a dead end. Looks like we still have another. But as with all Minecraft caving, you're gonna typically find even more areas to go the longer you do this. And at this point, this is just going way too long. I could never send a player down this, telling them to just, keep going. Eventually, you'll find what you're looking for. Not that there was anything there, but okay. All right. So that was a no-go. Worth a look. It's actually quite the expensive section of caves. Oh, would you look at that? It's nighttime. Just can't seem to find it. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm hoping you guys can see this just as much as I can. But every time I look over this direction and I see this moss, like it just looks like bats. It just looks like there's 100 bats staring at me. Too far away. So here's part of it. This will lead in there. This is such a long ways away. I know that this is a mine and this is supposed to be a big level, but maybe what I could do, because there's supposed to be some secret areas that ultimately the player is going to need to find, and if they don't find it, that's fine. But this could be like as you've come through and then just takes you into a deeper dive or something. I just am not the biggest fan of how far away this is. And this still isn't even the actual mines that is a part of like our village area. Like, I know this goes super deep. Maybe this actually could be what I'm wanting to do, because I was wanting to make the player drop a significant distance down. You're not welcome here. This very well could just serve the purpose that I wanted. efficient because we're already at negative 26. And part of what I want is for the player to get down super deep into the level. And kind of like the whole the dwarves dug too deep thing is like satisfied by them going, by the player going down as deep as possible. So I think this is the section of tunnel. Here we lean into the sill. Oof, nature. Still, I was before. I am so. Oop. Okay. I'm gonna get too distracted. Concern. Okay, so I just need to orient the level in that direction, and then everything should be fine. Okay. Alrighty, I am going to take a restroom break. Grab something to drink real fast, and I will be back momentarily. Okie dokie. Okay, there we are. So I am back, but at the same time, I'm gonna likely have to keep working on something that popped up as soon as I got back. So bear with me on that one. Nobody needs a bunch of rotten flesh. Okay. Alrighty, so we are here. And then we are going to go out this way. So these may be mines, but I'm not fully thinking that it has to be like the super deep in the level or super deep in the world kind of thing. I'm thinking that it could be up a little bit higher. Just kind of call this where it is, and then we'll work our way over towards the mines over there. I think it'd be kind of fun to use some of that natural generation. So I think, because I also kind of want this to be multi-layered and multi-leveled in a way, which is why I was kind of like wanting to have some of that underground area. I just know that it catch up. I was hoping it'd be a little bit more accessible than it is, and then what we do have over here just is not all that wide. So let me actually go over to I've been referencing. Okay. Trying to catch up. I'm walking, I'm not even seeing. Very interesting watching FPS go up and down. One. So we are Professor K's mega tree. The pathways that are here. So okay, so if we go around to the front. This tree here, there's a area, and I love this deck. This is awesome. I don't know if I knew that there before. It goes down a considerable ways. Cavalry waiting for me. Okay. Let's pick that up so the mobs pick it up. So the amount of space that physically exists here in the width is what I am after more than anything. I think this is just a fantastic area. I love it. And so like when we first settled into there, you can see the edges of a mine shaft. And so basically there were some spots out that way where you could actually get back to the mines that we had. And so like I've been aware of this cave. I've been aware of this cave for some time. The issue I'm facing in wanting to use this for the third level is one, it's right underneath Professor K's base. I don't want to encroach on any of her area. I want to be respectful of the space she's got. And I just don't want to... Oh my gosh, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah, I just don't want to like come in and take over her area. but like this is the most ideal. I think it may ultimately be fine. Professor K is likely gonna let me just utilize this, but I want to have this. The other issue that I then face is that I can't. But there we go. The other hole. And so here we are about 260 blocks away. Austin Fun, what's going on, man? Welcome in. So I'm about 260 blocks away. Like again, like I didn't want to take the player way over there. I don't want to have to like drop the player down and then make them traverse this whole length. Maybe I could still make something work with that, but like I don't want to like have them go all the way over just to get to the level. Again, some didn't, that's just how it go. But I'm struggling with that concept. Alright, need another second here. I'll step away for just a minute. Gotta tend to the kiddos. Sincerest apologies, guys. Sometimes when I am taking care of some stuff in the background, my children tend to be very needy, and sometimes you're like, you guys know what you're supposed to do, right? Right. Alrighty, let's go try to find some way to get into those mines. Just a little bit easier. And I'm not so much like wanting to get into those mines for the fact that like my level is going to be a mine. I want into them for the space that they are going to provide me. So let us see. Now that we're here and the frames are back, right, I'm gonna go ahead and take a look and see what we can do. I'd like to see if have some sort of extension back that way that I can actually utilize. Because it is such a big area. Okay, so let's see. Okay, just looks like a little bit of a cave, nothing much extra. Okay, so we do go back a ways, which is nice. I think it's good. So I think I forget what it was, like 2090 to 2170-ish. Okay, so I'm not actually, I didn't do my math right there. I think it's 2270-ish. So I think it's like still technically another 100 blocks of this way that I'm attempting to go. Let's see. Okay, so it does go, but the space is significantly more limited. Fantastic. Everybody loves a witch. Okay, so there's still more below central. Okay, I know where I'm at now. Okay, so what we can do is dig out down into the quote-unquote mines and have it go. If I go back this way, then it's a wall. That's gonna hurt. Okay. Let's see, I have not lit some of this up, and I am really sorry if it is hard to actually see. I don't think I just came from this way. Direction, but maybe I'll do that one. Okay, we're back into some. Trying to. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to do significantly more to figure out what is ready to be just that my okay, there we go. So I'm wondering if there is some issues with where I just put the mines. I can still move the mines. I can still move that entrance. There is a spot that fights the entrance. Build up. And honestly, I could use this area right here. I know I've already down a bunch of moss. Okay, there's my frames. So what I can do is I can actually make the mine entrance here and drop it down. This may actually be significantly better. The hope was that I could keep the mines closer to the town for the sake of the lore that I'm trying to build here, but I may not have that luxury. Okay, let's here. All right, we're gonna do game mode. Spec. Oh, you know what? That I think this will drop everybody. That S spectator. No. Okay. All right. It's an where okay. Okay, so this is what I want to use. I want to use some of this area here. I'm so sorry, this is gonna be rough. Okay, you know what? Alright, I'm just gonna leave it on the spoilers ahead screen for now, so that I can go ahead so just quickly to mine. I found not that it was missing. Immediately messes with you. Okay. So this here, some very small caves. So there's some very small caves here. Okay. So smaller caves. A significant drop down. So maybe what we can do is we can send the player down into the earth and actually make them go. Shelf. and probably towards the other side of the mountain. Down towards the other side of the mountain. Areas flying. Yeah, this is significantly hard to just find a good spot. Get to the cave. Really don't want to get it. I'm gonna have to go back to that. Game maps row. Okay, sorry about that. There was just no way to do that without like the FPS tanking and it being unviewable. So I had to poke around on my own. Let's see here, just admin time. Okay. And what? Okay. So there's some pieces that I'm going to be able to do and some not. And basically getting down into the mines, that's just not going to be something that I can actually take care of. So let's see here. Working on the mine entrance, I'm not going to be able to do anything with that. So let's see if I can potentially start the city. A little bit of oak wood. I don't know if that's the wood I necessarily should use for this. Okay. Have a little bit of spruce. And as a heads up, I am actually going to end the stream in about 15 minutes. Mainly because that I will be doing this evening and I have to make sure that I can get that. So, trying to think what we can do with just a little bit of time left. Maybe we can keep strategizing where we're going. Maybe we can, because that one's still going to be far away. So one of the things, the reason why I'm like really trying to keep this mine entrance as close to this mountain town as possible, and this is, I wouldn't call this quite spoilers per se, just because it is information that will be found in the game, but anybody playing the game won't know this until later. Let's see. So the reason I wanted this to be closer is so we've got the villagers here, we've got the dwarves that are going to be in the mountain, and then we've got the wizard up here. Um, they're all cohabitating, basically just trying to survive. These villagers are useless, and so they need protection. Well, the wizard told the dwarves not to dig too deep because there are things beneath the earth that can basically wreak havoc and cause trouble and get everybody killed. A little bit of a Balrog uh, piece from Lord of the Rings, except what I'm going to be referring to is not a Balrog. The dwarves will dig super deep, and what's going to happen is it's going to cause a beast to escape. Part of what I wanted to do was say the beast escaped and killed everybody that was in the village, and so they're attempting to repopulate later. And maybe there will be some villagers here for what I'm going to do, like in the game. Maybe I can like get some villagers in here. But what I'm thinking is like the villagers were killed by the beast that came out of the mines, and there's also going to be another beast that comes into the mines. And that is kind of why I want to do this. So like if the mine entrance was like 1,000 blocks over there, and then like dwarves released it, and then something else went in, these guys would not even be involved in the slightest. They wouldn't care. They wouldn't die. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure this lore like actually fully connects. One of the things too that I was doing while I was writing out some of this was that the dwarves dug super deep. They did find a portal that basically released said beast, and that beast escaped, but they heard it but didn't see it, which means that the beast came out somewhere else. And that could also be part of it. Like we can, and that's going to be a little bit of the nature level is you're going to discover where, and so we can say like that beast came out and ravaged this village on its way out. So that is something that we can do. I guess I can use that as some way to tell myself to shut up and just deal with it. It's not going to be as perfect as I want it to be. So let's see if we can create a different spot around this side. So I could probably do a mine entrance. Maybe don't want to hang out with people as much. Let's see here. That should be fine. Okay. So maybe what we can do at this point, that was a terrible torch placement, whatever, is the mine entrance can be attached to my village, or it can be attached to my industrial district, or what we can do is instead of walling this section off right here, we can allow it to go this way. And oh shoot. Just gotta love powdered snow. So what we can do, I have seen those in here. This drops down into those mines, or into that giant area. Except I don't think this is the right spot. Hilariously enough, no, this is not the right spot. I thought that was. I do know that there's a section where it does drop down. If anybody's curious, that frog's name is Bob. I did not name him. Just a random frog named Bob here. Welcome to the stream, Bob. Happy to have you. Oh, there it is. Okay. Maybe. Okay, so yeah, maybe what I can do is I can make into this area over over here. But once again, now we're actually running really close to that other area that I'm saying, like, hey, maybe this is what's up. But we can still make this work. So it's funny. This is like I want to get away from this. Let's drop some stuff off real fast. I actually have an open one. I've been like super efficient about like moving these shulker boxes out of the way. Let's just drop. Yep, that's nice. Just drop some of this in here. Okay. I think one of the hardest parts is like I want to utilize stuff that I've found from Pinterest because it does have some really good themes for some of these homes. But like I said, I am the worst, the absolute worst. Like it's placing those first blocks because I just want to be perfect. Like this is why that whole no mistakes thing was such a big deal for me. Like no mistakes, just build. Like don't get caught up in it. And yet here I am, still struggling to like actually deal with this. Let's see. I'm gonna want stone bricks. Okay, we're gonna need to sleep soon. Hey, placed a block. Cool. All right. So most of these are going to be facing off this way. So it's going to be southward facing homes. For the most part, these doors are going to be here. Oh yeah, that's right. These are going to be the bigger homes. So the homes are in the bigger homes / buildings. So I think this one was like meant to be like the quote unquote the inn. I don't know what I was going to do with this one yet. This one is going to be a storage area, and another one may end up being like a horse stable. As you can see, I have quite a few naturally spawning like animals up here. Kind of nice, I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, like they're super annoying. So, but yeah, I could probably do with that. This is meant to be kind of like a little village, you know. So we've got some villagers living here, and they do have to live and survive. So some of what they're going to do is some of these passive mobs are going to be wrangled and put into little areas. I left a lot of space without pathways. Oof, sorry about that. A lot of space without pathways because some of this is going to be some farmland. It's not a very big village, so therefore they're going to have not a whole lot of farmland here. So this one for sure is a storehouse. Just gonna get some blocks down. I really hate the flat palette that I'm already doing, but I just need to kind of like chill my beans and just start with something. Okay. It's amazing, the little things that just bother me sometimes. I just get a little ADHD about it. Okay. So one of the things that I think is like really stopping me from building some of these bigger buildings is I want them to be 2 stories. Sometimes I want to be able to have something here in this bottom area. Like this is just kind of like a storage room. I've had a building where I did an inn, and the bottom was the storage, and then the section above it was, you know, like 3 or 5 rooms, and, you know, quote unquote guests could just go and stay there. So I think that's what is just like really catching my brain is just that I don't know what to it's going to be stone bricks either. Some of the style from the Swiss Alps is a darker, so something more like the oh my gosh, smooth basalt and some of the calcite. So those blocks are actually going to be relatively heavily utilized for me. So that's going to be something that I'm going to add into here. Let's go and make some more stone bricks. I still, despite how many shulker boxes I've used, have a lot of stone. And yes, some of these are meant to be nice and tiny. Mainly because not everybody has a big house. Okay. And as you can see, that one actually is a west-facing door, which is fine because part of me is going to want to throw in some pathways through here. And let's see. Again, I'm like over here stressing over small details. Like, okay, I gotta make sure I plan out every last little bit about where this path is gonna go. No, I do not. Just build the squares. Just do the thing, as Jocko Willink would say. Just do the thing. Okay. We are almost done here, guys. Just a little bit longer. We will be done for the evening. I know we're going to leave a lot of projects undone. A lot of things just not in the best light, but you know what? Definitely try to get some good reasoning in for why I want to do stuff and where I want to put things. So we'll go ahead and pick up some of that when I get back the next time. And I'll probably do some work off camera just because sometimes my brain just doesn't want to work, and I guess we could probably just call that streamer brain. So this will be the last house we do because I'll run out of wood just after running the outline on this one. Okay. All right, we've got a few outlines done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, pink sheep. Okay, so we got 7 of these done. We managed to make a little bit of a pathway. We started putting in the entrance area for level 3, and then just decided to wander around and figure out where I'm actually going to put this level, because some of this does need to be deep, some of it's going to need to be wide, and I just have to make sure that like I actually have the space for it. I had to go into spectator just to try to figure some stuff out. Sadly, most of the big caverns are all over here, and I can't really do much underneath, so it's either I add it in myself and route the player somewhere else and keep them down narrow pathways, or I have either the mine entrance there or there and ship you towards Professor K's tree, and then have you go underground and end up in the actual mine shaft areas that are over there. Definitely some things to think about because I just want to keep from having to like dig out as much stuff as possible. The amount of digging that I did to do the player hall level 1 and level 2 was just a lot, and it was really hard to stay motivated throughout that whole time. So it was just difficult to do that, and I don't know if I want to repeat the same thing digging out this level. Now I do have some levels that are going to be above ground, and those won't really require any actual like digging down, and it'll be above. the ground. So some of that will be a little bit better. I won't have as much to deal with there. And so that'll make those levels go faster. But given that the amount of time that I actually have to play and put stuff like this together is severely limited and typically reduced to times that I'm working, is making it so that like I have to pick and choose my battles, and digging stuff out is not a battle that I want to pick. So all right guys, well thanks so much for joining. Very much appreciate you coming in. And yeah, I'm not sure when I'll stream again. I would like to hope that I can do so again, probably Thursday, depending on the busyness of the day. But got some stuff to take care of with the kiddo, so my days off are going to be spent taking him off to appointments. But at the very worst, I'll try to see you on Thursday. If not, I'll try for the weekend. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you coming out. I'll see y'all next time.